there, everybody. Stephanie Bennett here in The Secret Place. I've got a treat for you today. This is a brand new book called Pierced by Love, Divine Reading with the Christian Tradition by Hans Boersma. Have you ever heard of him? I heard an interview with him on a podcast and I had to get the book. You know, if you've been here at all in the last 5 or 6 years, you know that I kind of tend to talk about contemplation and lectio divina. It's a practice that I do. These are practices that I do and love. And this book is he talks about lectio divina quite a bit. And there was something I wanted to share with you, which I thought was really interesting today. It's on page 19 in this book, Pierced by Love. And he brings Plato as well as Augustine and Jesus into the lectio divina tradition. He says, rightly, these three rightly saw that love here on earth does not fully and permanently satisfy. That problem marks not just erotic love, but also problem marks charity. And friendships suffer from the same limitation. The joy and peace that friendship gives makes us long for more, because friendship functions like an oasis within the desert. Friendship longs for the desire for the entire desert to be transformed into an oasis. In our experience, we encounter deserts all over the place, while friendships are fragile and weak. The limitations and peculiarities of love and friendship cause tension in our lives. This side of the eternal life, we keep yearning for the abundance and universality of the love and friendship of God. He goes on to talk about the metaphor of friendship, friendship with God. And I just love the way he talked about friendship being an oasis within the desert. It is. I don't know. There's never been a present that's wrapped with a bow that has ever meant more to me than my friendships. And there's a few of my friends, close friends, over the years who I think are on this YouTube channel with me, and you know how I feel about you, and how I treasure the gift of your friendship and the gift of friendship in general. It's truly an oasis in the desert. And by a desert, I mean, maybe you who are listening are not prone to negativity the way I unfortunately sometimes am, but there's so much grief and so much grit and so much dirt in this world and in the news and what's happening and problems and potential problems. That stuff has the power to just, it's like an eclipse, just cut. Yeah, I'm normally walking in sunshine, walking on sunshine, and like this news and grit and grief, like just like comes to eclipse that. It just so often comes to eclipse that. And I am so thankful for the gift of friendship, where I can run and I can process and I can grieve and I can cry and I can say, are you bothered by this? This is really bothering me. I can't believe this is happening for so-and-so. The gift of friendship really helps. It's such a gift of God. And yet today, what I want to talk about with this Pierced by Love book, I'm not even halfway through it. I'm sure you're going to hear about it again from me. But it's this idea that he brings forth that even friendship, even charity, let alone eros and married love, doesn't really satisfy. That there's no love on earth, no matter how pure and precious it is, and how precious and pure it truly can be. But there's no love that truly satisfies on earth. There's limitations to all of it. And some days and some seasons were more limited than others, right? I've had some seasons in my life where I've had a couple of times where I've had like a sickness or an operation or something that kind of came out of the blue that really knocked me off my feet for, one time I'm thinking in 2007, for 3 months, 4 months. And you live in those kind of physical limitations. That's one thing. But there are many kinds of limitations that we have, not just in our human life and our daily doings in our own soul, but with our friendships, with our spouses. And I think that the loneliness that I'm hearing about these days that's going on, at least here in the States, I haven't looked at global statistics, But the loneliness index is so high right now in the United States. So many people, young people, are so lonely, expressing such deep loneliness. I think part of the reason is the fact that we can hold ourselves off from love and commitment. We hold ourselves off from charity. We hold ourselves off from philia, from friendship love, because we don't want to take the risk of the pain of that person dying or that person leaving us or that person hurting us. But I can speak from experience. Even when that happens, when someone dies that you love beyond words, or someone leaves you and hurts you or backstabs you, friendship is still worth the risk. Love is still worth the risk. Being married for decades and decades and decades and decades, it's bound to show up all kinds of limitations, right? But it's worth staying married. I'm not talking to you if you've been abused and beaten. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the daily trials and tribulations of trying to live with someone in a way where you're, compatible and kind and considerate. That doesn't always happen, does it? But it's worth working through those limitations. One day, our hearts will be fully satisfied with a love that is without limitations, with a love that is so pristine and pure. I envision like liquid gold, like bright as the noonday sun. Like I can't even express what I think that love, the fullness of that love will be like, but I know there will be no more crying and tears and sorrow. I know the limitations will be lifted. And I know it will be worth it all. It will be worth it all, my friends. Persevere. Hang in there. I had something that happened with a friend recently that really tore me up. And if you're listening, friends, don't take it on yourself, okay? Because it's not you. Huh? I had something that tore me up so much in the last couple weeks. And I have dreamt about it, and I have struggled with it, and I have wanted to flee. Enough is enough. But I laid it down at the feet of the Lord, and I have peace now. And I am so glad that I pushed beyond my limits. God gives us the grace and the strength for that. He gives us the grace and the strength for that. The grace and the strength are available to us for that. One day, we will know, even as we've been known. Now we know in part, then we shall know in full. And we shall know in full of the friendship of God and of others in that sweet by and by. I believe that. I hope you do too. That's all for today in The Secret Place. I'm so glad you came. Please leave a comment or a question. Let's get into some dialogue here, okay? I don't do this for my health. I love to be here with you and share. And I'd love to hear from you. Until the next time, have a beautiful, wonderful day and great week ahead. Bless you. Bye now.